Hey, sissy. How you
Hello.
doing? Thank you for coming.
I'm all right.
You all right? I don't
Um,
know if you remember Kawana. She sang at my wedding when I came down the aisle.
yeah.
Kawana, this is my
Hello.
sister Melissa.
Hel- Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Got
Good.
I'm
How are you?
okay. I
her
can't complain.
Medea voice. I'm lagging for some reason. Um, I'm assuming it's because I just dropped my damn computer.
No, it's not. It's not lagging over here though. You in time and then sync over on this end.
It looked weird to me. Maybe it's starting to catch up now. But I
Okay.
look like a kung fu movie. I hear myself talking and then I'm seeing my lips and it's like you have no honor. You you've come to you want to battle me, the master?
Nah, no. I think what's happening is there's like a very very slight lag for like maybe it's like literally a half of a sliver of a second, and then it
Okay.
catches back up. So it's not severe. It's not something that nobody but the perfectionist in you would notice. Nah.
Well, thank you for that. You truly made me feel a little bit better about myself, just a little bit.
You're not my
Still
real
looks
mom,
weird
and you
on
never
mine.
will be.
Thank you for coming, sis. No, my sis Melissa is a little nervous about um this isn't really how she do things. I'm always the loud, crazy one out of all the sisters. But I just really wanted to have her perspective because we grew up together, of course, and I watched her experience colorism. And then at times it was like, that's my sister. You ain't, because growing up, she got called the little white girl, and
Right.
we used to all we done got into it with a couple people at the park before for thinking just because she was light skinned you could try her. But she experienced colorism too, and she experienced it from a much different perspective than I did. But we were able to understand each other's trauma from colorism. So I really wanted her to come on and give her perspective on it. But I see people are already coming in the room. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Hello.
We Gon' Talk Colorism. I got Quita in the room right now. I see Miss Emily Ivory Jackson in the room. Yo Yo is here. Evangelist Sharon Jackson is in the room. And if I didn't name you, it's just because I don't see you in our feed. But we thank you guys for coming and joining us on this Tuesday evening. I have a little talker in the background here, Mr. Gamer, aka Kyron is game raging. It's like not the time right now. So it's not the time right now.
That's
But
funny.
we're here to talk about colorism. I'm gonna try to get through this episode without having my own kind of a moment because I still am very much healing from
Y'all
my
see my
trauma
face when
of
she said that?
colorism. I know. This triggers me
And
a bit.
we talked about this last week now.
We talked about this last week, but this topic in particular triggers me a lot because I have such mixed emotions about it. And um one of the things for me, especially now, is it's cool to be black. Like everybody wants the melanin now, melanin magic this, melanin magic that. Oh, now you see that dark hue, you see that brown hue, and it was like, where was y'all at when I was growing up? And I was told I was ugly from each end of the earth because I was dark skinned, or called monkey, called tar, called all of these jigaboo, called all these little names from being dark skinned. And now it's like everybody is proud to be black and want to claim being black. And it was like, oh, y'all just didn't want to be part of the struggle when we had to have the struggle of self love. But everybody wants to be black. So I've had my own issues of allowing people to celebrate blackness without feeling like I own it. Like I felt like I kind of own it. I worked to be black. I did my part to be called black. I've had my share of scars to wear this skin. Now everybody just want to do it, and it's like, no, that's mine. That's mine. You can't have that. And I had an experience that kind of woke me up from that a little bit, and I had to change my perspective a bit. I see you wanted to say
I
something, Kawana. Go ahead.
Yeah, I never, to my knowledge and recollection, because chemo fog is real.
Right.
I never experienced colorism like in that aspect, nor was it so severe for me. What I did notice and continue to notice now in my adulthood is that people would want to classify me as a certain color that I did not see myself as. For instance, I've always been classified as light skinned. And I'm like, bitch, where? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, and it's not an insult. I believe in calling a thing a thing. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? I don't feel like I'm light skinned. I may be caramel, I may be hazelnut because I have Native American in my blood. I know there's some red undertones to this brown, but there's nothing light about me. I haven't been light skinned since I was like 3 or 4. So when I tell people like, yo, I'm not light skinned, when you talking about, girl, yes, you are. Skirt. Hold on, baby. Because let's be clear, and maybe this is my own bias. When I think light skinned women, I think of women who are your sister's hue or a little darker. These are facts. So it would frustrate me, and even still to this day frustrates me that people want or choose to classify me or choose to try and force me to classify myself as a light skinned person. And I'm like, and I know that might sound trivial to other people, but it's like, it's not trivial to me because I'm trying to understand, why is it so important? Why is it so significant to you that I be one or the other? You know, why is it bad that I consider myself not dark skinned? Because I'm obviously not that. But why are you arguing with me about my skin tone? I'm not, baby, this ain't light skin. Look, caramel, yeah, but it's not light skin. So why would you want to push that on me like I'm rejecting something bad about me if I say I'm not? Like, it's what, come on now, what is that about?
Mhm.
I don't
Uh,
does that make sense? Because sometimes what I say doesn't.
yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And
Okay.
as a very melanated woman, very dark skinned woman, I've never been able to identify as anything else but dark skin. Um, and what I think a lot of people don't understand is that there are still certain graces given to someone that has lighter skin. So when we're
True.
trying to make that distinction, it's kind of like, okay, you may not get the same graces as like my sister Melissa, but you are definitely going to get more grace than I do. You're going to get still, you fit more of the standard of beauty than I always did. Not until like
Oh, okay.
you start a little bit. I mean, I know you
The
got your
Amazon, the
boxes,
Amazon,
but yeah, even still,
the Amazon with the big nose and the big teeth and the big nose
even
and the crooked teeth and the big feet.
even
Okay.
still, because for the most part, there's years and years and years of saying that the lighter your skin is, the better you are. So as someone that's very dark skinned, you were very there was no good in you. There was no opportunity for
That's
that.
true.
So you carried that around. People did treat you differently. I grew up hearing a whole lot, only if you were light skinned, you would be cute, or only if you were light skinned this, or only if you were, I would like you if you were light skinned. So it was just like, okay. But I think having my sister Melissa and us growing up together and watching her experiences um helped me a little bit
Now
because
her experiences were a bit different because she lived in another country, correct? I mean, I don't want to
only,
tell too much of
but
her
go ahead,
business,
Melissa.
but
Not her whole life, but go ahead and tell everybody about you, sis.
because I believe we got something in common.
Yeah, I grew up pretty much all over all over the United States and then also in Germany because my dad was
Boom.
in the army.
That's what we got in common. I'm also part
So,
German.
okay. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time over there and that's probably I would say the first time that I came in contact with any type of colorism. But when we moved back here to the States permanently to Illinois, when I was 12 or 13, you know, things got a little bit more intense. And I don't know, things were just different because growing up overseas mostly, and, you know, in the type of environment that you find yourself in when you're an Army brat, you have, you know, people from all over the United States and children from all over the United States, and they just kind of throw classrooms together. And so you have, you know, kids that are a little bit older, kids that are a little bit younger, because they're just trying to, you know, group as many kids that are around the same age and grade together. And because there's a lot of diversity in that, I didn't see a ton of colorism because things were a lot different then, you know. But coming here when I was 12, you know, it hit me full force. And the things that I guess you learn just from being in the environment, yeah, definitely completely different from what you or Sante would have experienced, but still, you know, I feel like everybody has their own kind of path with that, and anybody, you know, that you talk to will have a different experience. But I feel like a lot of it is just based on what we've been taught, what we've learned, what we've inherited, you know, from our elders, things that are pushed on us that we didn't ask for, like you were saying, you know, them pushing on you what, trying to tell you what you should identify as, because I've had that a ton. Like if I wasn't being called Puerto Rican or Mexican, I was white, I was light skinned, I was red bone, I was yellow, I was
and it's
high
like,
yellow, you know. Yeah.
No, that's not even anywhere near what I am, bro. Like, cut it out.
Right.
And why do I have to be that? Because that's what you see.
Yeah. That's
and
exactly right.
It's a lot of that. So that's honestly when I had my wake up call. You guys know Naraya, you know my baby girl, and she's starting her own project called Black Girls Out the Box. And it's just going to be a space for girls, for Black girls especially, that don't fit the Black girl norm. Because, you know, we all know how sometimes there's expectations for how Black girls should act or be, and that's just not her. So she wanted to create a space to connect with other girls like her, and just, you know, have a safe space to talk about being the different Black girls. So it's called Black Girls Out the Box. Be looking out for that. But when we were trying to create her logo, our brother Stefan, me and Melissa's older brother, created the logo for Oh We Gonna Talk, and he was creating her logo. So he initially created her first draft of her logo, and I looked at it and I was like, she's not going to like this, because we had been having talks and just like passing about how she views herself and her skin color. So when he first made the logo, she was fairly light. And I said, she's not going to like that. She's going to ask you to fix it because she identifies as being dark skinned. And Stephanie was like, she thinks she's dark skinned. I was like, yes, trust me. I've already had this conversation. We had this conversation talking about something else where she was saying that she's dark skinned. And I was like, baby, you're not dark skinned. And she was like, yes, I am. I am chocolate, and I'm just as chocolate as you. And I was like, but you really not. And I had to catch myself because I was like, wait a minute. If my baby looks at her dark-skinned mother, sees pride in being dark-skinned, sees joy in being dark-skinned, and comfortable with being dark-skinned, why am I trying to impose on her my colorism? Because that's what it is.
I actually saw the photos that you sent me. I never did get back to you with my comments on them. I actually appreciate the fact that she advocated more for the darker hued prototype of the photo. And it's not to say that the one that was a little more my complexion was a bad one, but what I have noticed in like even as like advertisement and things like that, how many darker skin hued or darker hued or, you know, more chocolate hued women do you really see at the forefront of anything?
You don't.
Very rarely, if at all.
Right.
So even if let's say that nobody else saw that she was dark skinned, I don't care if she was pale, I don't care if, like Native Americans call, I don't care if she was pale face. You understand what I'm saying? If she, even if she identified as light skinned, if she wanted that darker hued young lady to represent her brand, I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm proud that she advocated for, no, I want the chocolate one. Take
And
that
that's
caramel one and fuck on somewhere.
and she was stern on that. She was like, "No, tell Uncle I like everything except her complexion." I was like, he has this
At least
one.
she
So
know.
I showed her both. So before I even showed them to him, I asked him to do another one with a darker complected girl. I meant to download the picture. So this, I don't know if you guys at home can see it, but that was the first draft of Black Girls Out the Box. This is what she settled. This is what she decided she wanted. So I don't
See,
know
and
if
that
you guys
looks
can
so
see
much.
the difference
I
in
like
them.
that, and I don't even want to say I like that better, but listen,
Right.
we grown. I like that better. I'm sorry.
Mhm. I feel it. I feel it. And that was a wake up call for me where it was like, maybe at some points, even though I have my light skinned sister who we've had to drag a couple people because they thought they were going to try her. You wasn't gonna call her little white girl. You wasn't gonna call her Puerto Rican. She identifies as black. She's black, and that's it. And if you have a problem with it, you're gonna have to answer to both of us. And that was just kind of how we approached that. But I still realize, like, I'm still struggling with my own colorism, even in that, because of my own trauma. I just was not allowed to be cute until I decided I was gonna love Sante regardless. And then when I started to, I guess, embrace my skin complexion, it was like more because people were sexualizing it. It wasn't even,
Mm-hmm.
no, not even necessarily about it being just black is beautiful, black pride. It was like, ooh, you black African looking, sexy girl. Like it was like that. So it was like, I just can't just be cool and be black. Just be dark skinned and be beautiful. I have to be either ugly or hypersexualized. So it was like that was an issue in itself, and just learning to find my own joy in being black. But I think it's just so much, like to Melissa's point about this being so much embedded in us from being small, from little. It's not really ours. It was kind of given to us. It was kind of
Past, yeah.
passed down to us, which is why it's a generational curse, and why
Forced
I
upon us.
especially wanted to talk about it. What you say, sis?
I said forced upon us.
Forced upon us. Yeah. Tell us, Melissa, tell us about some of your experiences. Um, some of the times we've had to set a couple people straight.
I
um,
mean, there's too many to name, honestly.
Serious.
Like we had that all the time, and it wasn't always a pleasant experience. It's usually never a pleasant experience if we're being honest. And it's the type of thing where uh you know we have these things, like I said, forced upon us, and there's really not much you can do about it. All you can do is, like what you were saying, try and teach our children better. Luckily, I do see a little bit of a shift in that regard where, our children are starting to learn better and know better, because even, the disconnect between what, just say, like from one girl to the next or whatever. I've had a lot of experiences where maybe a boy gave me attention because I was light skinned, and another
Oh,
girl didn't take kindly to it. And it was like, okay, well, I didn't ask for that attention in the first place. And now I have a problem not only with the person who gave me the attention that I didn't want, but also some girl who, took it a certain way. And so, it's not even just, males who are doing it, but also females are doing it to each other. But I feel like, we're getting maybe to a better place where we can kind of support each other and see things a little bit differently.
so here's what irritates me about that dynamic, though, right? So we're all very aware that being colorist or racist or discriminatory in any capacity, where it's not inherent in us. That was something that was taught to us. Very aware of that. My issue with that is, pragmatically, you would think that a people who didn't like it when other people did it to them would not
Wouldn't
want
do it
to
to
do
someone
it
else.
to themselves.
Mhm.
Not even necessarily to someone else, to themselves, aka in your case, someone else, another brother, another sister, your children, your grandkids, your you've had white people and other people who are not white but don't identify as black dig our ass on colorism, kill us based on policies wrapped in colorism, discriminate against us because of colorism. So you know how that feels. You know what that looks like. You recognize it in other people. So when a white man does it, you know what that looks like.
Right.
But when you telling your little boy or your little girl, particularly your little girl, don't go outside and stay outside too long. You don't want to get too dark skinned. You missed that part of the conversation where you were being a colorist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like, I'm sorry, I know it sounds passionate, and understand that because I'm a counselor, again, my hours are from 9 to 5. It is 8:18. I am now a human being. And in my human capacity, it really irritates the fuck out of me. And I do not understand why we as a people haven't understood that if we didn't like how it felt to us, how are we okay with doing it to each other?
I don't even think it's intentional. I know for me, I had to build up this wall, like much like anybody else. When somebody is constantly using something against you, either you're going to build up a resistance to it, or you're going to ignore it, or you're gonna become so angry about it that you just going around cussing people out, beating people up. Um,
Right.
I would have preferred not to be, in that space where we're dividing on color, because I love everybody. I think everybody is beautiful, and that's it. I mean, my family is really literally like a rainbow. So, Melissa, the family is a rainbow. We're all
I
different
wish.
shades. We're
I
all
wish.
different shades. And I don't see differences necessarily in that. It's just growing up hearing all the time that you're just not good enough because you're dark skinned. You're not pretty enough for this. You're not, pretty enough for that. Like, all the dark skinned Barbies were hideous. Like, the dark skinned dolls were ugly. You had no representation in the 80s,
Well,
especially growing up, and the 90s, with beautiful dark skin. Everything was light skin, was pretty, it was better. You had a certain grade of hair, which I experienced some issues even in that. People, when for a long time before I went natural, would see my kids and assume that I had a certain texture of hair. So when I went natural, they were like, so what kind of texturizer or anything you use, like, this is grown straight out the scalp, this isn't a straw set, like, this is natural. So then you even get colorism, or you get those stigmas placed on you from that. It was like, as a dark skinned girl, you can't have this because that's not synonymous with being dark skinned. Like, that's not something a dark skinned girl would have. She wouldn't have cute curly 3C hair. Like, no, she wouldn't have that. So you don't want to
now
necessarily be
imagine
that way. Go
Now
ahead.
imagine being, and Melissa, I don't know if I can speak for you in this capacity, but I know I can speak for myself in this capacity, not being a dark skinned woman. Now, and Yolanda actually made mention of this too. Imagine being caramel or light skin and having your grade of hair, and then you, no, or it was straight before, and then you go up, it goes back to our original grade of hair like that. And then you get told, oh, you look better with your straight hair. Bitch, who you talking to? Who the fuck are you talking to? Like, was that supposed to be a compliment?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, no, what the fuck is you trying to say? Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying that natural is for everybody, but natural doesn't look good aesthetically on every person. That doesn't mean that the natural hair growing out of you, but everybody don't need to walk around with a fro. They just don't. It ain't for them. That's my opinion. I'm going to stick to that. However, comma, why is it that you basically told me without telling me that I look better with straight hair? Which, depending on which part of the black, diaspora you from, that's not natural or indigenous to us at all. That's natural and indigenous to people without melanin in their hair or in their scalp, in their skin. So what made you think that telling me, a Black woman, that I look better with straight hair was okay?
It's
Because the
the
assumption is
European
because I'm light
standard.
skinned, right? The assumption is, well, because I'm light skinned, that I'm supposed to look how light skinned girls do.
Mhm.
Well, what the fuck do they look like? What are you trying to say? Like, when I say the irritation that comes with colorism attached to your hair that I passively experience, and I'm not even dark, when I tell you my nerves, I be really want to smack the fuck out of people. And I'm sorry if I triggered or irritated somebody on here, but yo, listen, telling somebody who's fairer skin or telling somebody that's darker skin, oh, you would look better or you do look better with, stop saying that to people like that. Because what you're doing is imposing, one, your standards on somebody that didn't ask you. Number two, those aren't even your standards. Those standards are that white man who slept with that slave who made your great grandma, who made your grandma, who made your mama, who made you.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
That's
I don't
been
know.
the standard for so many years, though. The standard has been straight hair, light
Yeah.
skin, certain eye color, certain weight. You know, y'all know how skinny I was. You know, before children, and before
And
BC.
y'all know I ain't never been skinny. I always been bottom heavy, honey. Thicker
Oh,
than that thing.
I was a stick with tits. That was pretty much it. That was
I can I can attest to that because them titties was tittying at prom. I saw them from 20 feet away.
so that was me. And you know, I grew up hating being skinny because it was an expectation that as a dark skinned girl, I should have hips and butt.
She
Like you
was not
supposed
skinny.
you
She had, I just told y'all her titties was tittying at prom. There was nothing skinny about this little girl.
still
Stop
skinny.
letting her tell this lie
I
to
was
you.
still skinny. I was 120 pounds wet. Okay.
You
With my
was
hair
10
wet.
pounds
And
lighter
clothes.
than me. You was 10 pounds lighter than me, and I was thick as fuck. So cut it out.
Well, you were slim thick. I was not. There was nothing thick about Sante back in 2005.
I said what I
I was
said.
at 5'6" ish.
Please
But
don't
you know,
do not make me pull out little pound cake, okay?
okay, don't pull out pound cake. Don't pull out little pound cakes. Don't do that. We don't need to do that. But you know, the expectation was as a dark skinned girl, you
Well,
were
she
supposed
light
to have
skinned. She might
lifting.
fit in the conversation.
Who? Who? Oh, Melissa done always been thick
Look,
in the hips. And she, you know, I used to be like, I need to be thick. My sister thick. She light skinned one and she thick. I'm the dark skinned one and I look like I ain't never had cornbread in my life. But look at her now. My sister look good over there. Hey sis, I see that weight loss. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Yes. But I always felt like I was too skinny, like I was supposed to be dark skin and thick because that's what dark skinned girls are. Like you supposed to be from the South, you supposed to have that southern look if you gonna be dark skinned. So it's just all of these stigmas and expectations that get like equated to being a certain skin color. It's so interesting to me, like literally interesting. Like I just remember being around with my kids and people being like, what are your kids mixed with? Oh, they're black and black. No, like
baby,
what is their dad mixed with? Black and black. Yeah, I'm pretty
they
sure he's
called the
black.
police. They called the police on my mama because they thought my mama is you see my mama. My mama is like a little, she about your complexion. And so
You
is
should see
everybody
my
on her side of the
grandmother.
family.
You
You know
should
what I
have saw
mean?
my mother's mother. Thought I was adopted.
So according to her, somebody in the grocery store when I was like a year or some change old, maybe a little younger, almost called the police on my mama
Mm-hmm.
because she's a chocolate mother. She
Right.
got a chocolate son, my older brother. She got a chocolate son, my baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got me, who
Right.
was at that time light skinned with soft curly hair. So you're not gonna have no dark skinned woman or no two dark skinned kids and this little Mexican looking baby and not think that she ain't kid. They called the police on my mama because they didn't believe that I was hers.
And it's so sad because black women are the only women that can produce children that have the Eve
Of
gene
any hue.
of any hue whatsoever.
And this is in like
Yeah,
1984, 1980, 1984, almost 1985ish. So I had to be about either a little under or a little over a year old, somewhere. And you telling me y'all really getting in your bag of the dark skinned chick because she got a baby that don't look like her?
right.
That's what we doing? And I didn't know. I was just like, but why would they call Kawana? Why would they not? Did you look like me when you was born? When I say look at these sheets. That's the color I was for about the first 2 years of my life.
That's how them children came out, honey. I thought I was gonna have me 2 chocolate drops and Mariah come out, and I was like, huh, that that's mine.
Now imagine you seen my baby brother. He chocolate too. Baby, he was born with green eyes.
Yeah, because again,
He was
that's
born with green eyes.
the Eve gene. Eye color, skin complexion, all of that stuff can be produced from Black women. It's not you don't have to be mixed or necessarily have some sort, even though we all kind of mixed anyway, if you want to really get to the crust of it, if we start really digging in them crates. What I tell
Yeah.
people from my maternal side, my third removed great grandmother immigrated right off the boat from Ireland. So, when my older brother went and visited DC, he looked her name up in the book from when you signed the book, you put your name in the book when you immigrate here, and he sent us a picture, and we were just like, ain't that something? I remember coming across her picture as a teenager, and my she was like a white little girl, and I was like, Mama, why you got this old black and white picture of some strange white little girl? She said, girl, that's Sadie. Now I heard her name all of this time, and nobody ever told me she was Irish. And I was like, who, our Sadie? He's like, yeah, she immigrated here at 4, and she was from Ireland. And if you saw my grandmother, Melissa tell you, was lighter than her, had freckles, had bright red hair. People thought I was adopted. I would tell them, no, she's my blood grandmother. They call me a liar at day camp, and I'm like, no, literally, she really is my mother's mother. So we definitely have all different shades, and even growing up in that, I'm darker than my mom. I'm darker than my biological father, but yet, yeah, I'm dark. I'm still dark, and I grew up hearing that I wasn't good enough, hearing I wasn't pretty enough, hearing I was ugly, being called names. Another part of colorism is when I open my mouth and people say, "Why you sound like a white girl?"
Bruh, I swear to God, if I had a fucking penny for every time I heard that from my own goddamn family, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Not even from outside entities, not even from other people, not even from class. I don't give a fuck about my classmates. I'm sorry, y'all ignorant. Y'all mama didn't teach y'all how to read, and they can't articulate their verse or they R's. Because what the
Right.
fuck is a aura? But okay, fine, whatever.
Ara.
I don't, girl, listen, I came from Texas, okay? We did not say aura. Now, what we did do was lean on the R a little bit, like her, come here, come here, over there, about to call my her. We would lean on the R,
Right.
but it was never, you would spell a word and it was aura. The fuck, who the fuck you, what, bitch, don't be mad at me because you are illiterate and I'm not. But I never understood the concept of talking white. What does white sound like? Do you mean proper? Do you mean I sound like I can articulate myself?
What I
can
started
speak
to say was
intelligently.
That's white. That's me speaking as if I have education. I'm educated. I'm educated. That's what that is. I know how to formulate a proper sentence. But
I've read more than one book in my life. Fuck you mean?
I can code switch now all the time. So I haven't begun to put on my professional Sante voice when I'm at work, and I'm like, hi, how are you doing today? So good to see you. Oh, great.
First of all, you cannot go to Fisk University and not have a code switch voice. You're not going to do it. Number two, you're not going to grow up in the house of Kent Oran Williams Sr. and not know how to code switch, because I don't even think I've heard my father say a consonant. Okay, my father don't even use broken English. Not now time in my entire life have I heard my father As a matter of fact, my auntie, shout out to my auntie Yazoo. One of the reasons why I choose to be as articulate as I can be when I'm not being ghetto is because of one, my father, two, his older sister, my auntie Yazoo, who to me is one of the most classy, intelligent,
I'm sorry.
compassionate.
I gotta address Yolanda. Don't be trying to put me on Front Street talking about some I sound the same. Wait, what is that, friend? I'm sorry. Go back. I didn't mean. I'm gonna let you finish, but I just
no.
I just had
I'm gonna let you finish, but Yolanda getting on my fucking nerves. No.
Go ahead.
No, I love my auntie Yazoo because when I listened to her speak, even as a child, it was just something about the way she spoke, the way she articulated herself, the way that she, enunciated. Every word was a full word. There wasn't no, there wasn't no, there was, let me explain something to you, young lady. So here's how we're going to do this. Notice how I enunciated and pronounced every word, every consonant, every verb.
Everything.
Baby, she was queen. The only thing she didn't speak was the Queen's English. And I just thought that was cool. I'm like, because it sounded so classy. And you get tired of hearing hood boogers speaking broken English all the goddamn time around you. Just listening to her.
English, though, the Queen's English?
I swear to God, she speak everything but the Queen's English, bro. Oh, my mama. And just listening to her speak, I'm like, yo, I just thought that was cool.
Right.
Not that she sounded white, not that she sounded, anything other than Black. She just sounded intelligent and articulate. And outside of school, I rarely heard that.
Right.
So when I speak, I model myself when I'm code switching. When I speak, I model myself after my auntie Yazoo because she talks white. It ain't because she talks white. It's because she articulates herself beautifully. And it doesn't sound white. It sounds like she's educated. It sounds like she has a vocabulary. And it may not necessarily be super extensive, but it's there. Right. And she can speak it and it not be an issue. And right. I never understood why sounding like her or sounding proper or speaking properly equated to negativity. Like how? Why is it negative that I can speak up for myself, that I can articulate myself in a manner that's not always, that doesn't always need to be translated by lesser than. And you're not even lesser than. You just don't know. And that's okay. Everybody doesn't. I didn't know before I started listening to my auntie Yazoo. I didn't know that it's okay to speak proper English. That it's okay to articulate yourself without using can't or ain't or finna. I didn't know that was cool until I started being around people who would do that, like my auntie, her children, my dad, and eventually my mom.
Because we're not taught that. We've adopted that idea that to be Black, you have to speak a certain way, act a certain way, and you're not Black enough if you don't do those things. So
meanwhile, I'll beat your ass.
Say the wrong thing.
See how Black enough I am then.
We gonna both be Black. You know what I mean? And blue.
Real Black on that ass. Melissa, I know I heard you got them hands, honey.
Don't be fooled by the way because
that sniggling. Get. Don't be over there modest.
Listen, we've had to set a few people. By the way, my sister Melissa is a professional who her husband run their own real estate business. We're going to plug that later. So for those of you that are watching, don't by any means be alarmed by the fact that, yes, she has had to lay hands in the past on some people.
My own business is going to be a doctor in a year, and I still smack the shit out of you. Stop playing.
It used to go down because we grew up out west, and we'll be in the park, just chilling, just trying to live our best life on the swings, at the fire hydrant.
On the swings? Y'all went on the slides?
We was kind of too big at that point for slides. We really didn't have no good reason for being at the park. Really, we was like too big for the park. We just didn't want to be sitting in the house. So, we go to the
Also,
candy store.
Chicago heat and slides don't go well together.
You
Listen,
right. You right. You
burn.
right. I had to learn the hard way several times.
They used to stay off North Avenue and Grand. So what's the little?
No, ma'am. No,
Yeah.
ma'am. I like my life, and I grew up in Inglewood and Rose, and I still wouldn't be cold nowhere near North Avenue. You got me fucked up.
No, we was good. We was good over there. We lived for the corn man, and
Y'all was good over there.
what's the little ice cream, sis? The little ice creams we used to hit a bell, a little cart with the bell.
I know what you're talking about because we had them shits out south too.
Paletas.
Paletas, yes.
I'm glad you know. We call it ice cream. We got a
no, it was paletas. Okay, and we used to wait.
Ice cream.
We used to hit
The
that
coconut.
bell. Coconut, the chocolate.
That strawberry cream, girl. What you mean?
Listen, we would be in her. So when she got old enough that we could be trusted to be in the basement, she moved downstairs in the basement. We be downstairs in the basement listening to music all the way turned up and still hear that bell. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, girl, the Paletas bills. And get Paletas. But we used to go to the park, chill. People would come and be like, look, a white girl, make little comments. We'd be like, every day we got to fight to prove me back. Let me go ahead and get.
Every night I got to fight to prove my love.
All the time. Because, and she would be like, no, I'm black. And they'd be like, no, you're not black, or you Puerto Rican.
Oh, no. Here's the one. Oh, you're Puerto Rican, right? Do you speak Spanish?
Oh,
no,
wait,
I don't speak Spanish.
How did you just impose two things on me at the same goddamn time and ain't asked me none of motherfucking question?
Listen, it was not only that, it was, do you speak Spanish? And when I said no, and I couldn't even get it out of my mouth before, it was, well, you should learn your language.
Bitch, who you talking to?
I'm going to flip all this over.
I knock all this shit over. I'm sorry. I'm passionate. I'm irritated for you, girl.
But that's
shit.
A real deal. And then even her saying as a biracial person that she's black. No, you're biracial. Like me and her had this conversation of people.
Okay.
You're biracial. You're not black. But she's like, no, I identify as black. I'm black.
Okay. So I want to talk about that. Yes. Okay. And when I say it is out of sheer and genuine ignorance, it is legitimately out of sheer ignorance.
Right.
So there are individuals who are of mixed race or who are directly biracial. Why do you choose to identify as black versus identifying as white, or just saying I'm both and I'm not going to argue with you hoes? Fuck you. Because I understand that with some people, they choose to because of certain privileges that you get if you choose one over the other. But I understand that there are also people like me who, although I'm not mixed, I identify as black, but I'm not going to say that I'm not German or I'm not Native American. I'm all of them.
Yeah, so I can't speak for everybody, but for my own self, I identify as black. I won't deny that my mother is German, that I am half white. That's not what I'm about. But as far as like who I identify with, who I feel like my people are, that's black folks. For me, it was just really who I felt comfortable around, who I embraced. When you are growing up and you're kind of like, in my situation, I think I went to 9 different schools before I hit high school. So we were moving a lot, and, I basically just gravitated towards the people who would allow me to be a part of their group. And that was black people. So, that's who I grew up with. That's who embraced me, and that's who I embraced. And that's as simple as it got. Like, it's not that I don't identify as German, but, obviously here in America, that's not, a majority group of people that I'm gonna be around. When I was younger, we went through the school systems, but I don't look like a typical German. So they wouldn't necessarily embrace me as their own. And while I did speak the language at the time, it was probably like, okay, but why does she speak the language? So, you kind
Oh, that
of,
language is horrible. Jesus, I get traumatized because
trying
I
to
have a
get her to
degree
teach
in.
it to me.
it's not the best.
She wouldn't teach me nothing. All I know is Duncan Shane.
No,
That's it. I don't know
let me
nothing
explain
else.
something to you.
But
Be glad that she didn't teach you. Let me tell you, because that language is horrible. It is the
It's not
devil.
great.
No shade, but you got to understand, I'm a classically trained vocalist. So we had to learn a lot of German.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I would rather learn Italian and French at the same goddamn time. I'd rather learn Chinese, and I had to do a Chinese aria. I hate the German language. It is the
There's
bane
definitely
of
some
my
harsh sounds
existence.
in there. Yeah.
It is very glottal, and I think that's what I don't like about it. It's Steiner.
not with her. Just one day she gonna behave. One day we gonna do a show.
But Melissa, am I lying though?
She behave.
No.
Thank you.
You're not.
It's very glottal. It's very, very glottal. Good morning to you, Guggenheim. It is very like in your throat, very in your nose, and you spit. Like if you don't spit, you almost spit every time you say something. I'm listening that I hate.
We get it.
Right.
Just to be sure I understand though, you hate German.
It is not my favorite language to speak.
I'm trying to make sure I'm getting this correctly. You hate it. You don't love it or like it. You actually have a deep-rooted hatred for the German language.
I'd rather Trump be president 4 years and learn how to speak German
So
again.
I almost ended you off this call. Look, we can't.
I'm telling you, I'm traumatized. I am traumatized from my days in the music building at Fisk, learning them God forbidden German songs. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
On that note, everyone vote, please.
Right?
Please be registered.
Please.
It's not hard at all. You can do it from your phone.
Listen.
So, Melissa, I actually wanted to hear your thoughts on another thing. I was watching this documentary, like these mini documentaries that pop up on YouTube. And there was this African American, well, she's Black. I don't say she's African American because she's not from here.
Right.
She is half African and half Japanese, like straight biracial in that way. She strictly identifies as Japanese.
Okay.
And she might be a shade darker than me.
Oh.
What are your thoughts about that?
I have come a long way, and I let people be who they say they are. I believe you when you tell me who you are. That's her choice. I don't like to see people outright deny their heritage and half of who they are or whatever. Because, like I said before, as much as I identify as Black, I obviously know that I also have half of me that's white. And, so it's not a denial there. So when people fully deny it, then that's like, okay, well, what happened and why?
Well, I don't think in her case,
Yeah,
in her case, I don't think it was she was denying that she's Black. She actually acknowledged very much that she has Black skin, and she has to because she's discriminated against for that reason. But she gets it doubly so because people will ask her, well, aren't you Black? And she'll tell you them, no, I'm Japanese because this is the culture I was raised in. This is all I know. It just so happens that my hue is Black, and I know that, and I accept that, and I acknowledge that. But I, as a human being, and as far as my culture and how I identify, I am Japanese, and that's it.
And that's much to what Melissa's point was about her identifying as Black and being welcomed or accepted in the Black community, and that's what she grew up around. Her cousins that she spent most of her time with, we're all Black. Her sisters, her siblings are Black, except for our other three sisters who are also biracial, but they'll tell you too that they pretty much identify as Black. It's because that's the culture that we grew up around. I had this conversation not too long with someone where I was saying I struggle even when, deciding if I want to identify as Black or African American. When I was doing a training because here's my thing. I have not done an SSD.
Hold on.
DNA.
Let me pull out my chair.
Hold on, don't pull out your. I'm just saying,
gonna be good.
I'm not denouncing being African. I do identify as being just black American, because
Yeah,
I don't know. I just told you that I'm not too far removed from Ireland. I've
true.
never done an ancestry thing. I don't know a whole lot about my biological father's side. I don't know a whole lot of how deep those roots go with that. So with that being said, I don't know where my ancestors really are from to say that I'm necessarily like African. Um,
Whereas I do.
I I was
And by blood alone.
and see, I can't trace back my roots enough to certain things to know where I can say definitively I'm African American. It's not that I'm denouncing that part, but just to be able to say, like, well, my ancestors, well, what if I don't have any slave ancestors? I mean, what if I don't? I don't know. I'm assuming
Right.
that I do because I'm
Right.
black.
No, and to be fair, that was my point. When I say I know my background, what I mean is I know it well enough to know that by blood I shouldn't even identify as black.
Mhm.
Because let's be real, on my father's side, we are Creek and Cherokee Native American. We are German, and we're black. So we talking about 2/3 of my bloodline on my father's line alone. Ain't no black in it. I just recently found out that the third of the black that is there is Cameroonian. Fine. You go to my mama's side, we're Blackfoot, allegedly French, and black. And I don't know which part of the country, which part of the continent in Africa that black is from. But if you're looking at both sides of my blood, I can't, by blood alone, by sheer virtue of my blood alone, I can't identify as African American because African blood is the least of blood in my body, in my DNA. That's just fact. But who did I grow up around? What are white people gonna see when they look at me? Hell, what black people gonna see when they look at me? Don't nobody black see German in me. Don't nobody black see Native. Well, a lot of people, that black people see
I,
Native American in
I
me.
see Native American in you.
Fine, and that's fair.
I
But you see,
you kind of look like some of them pictures where they be kind of like saying that Pharrell is like a vampire. Not to say you a vampire, but they was just saying like I was going
you're
somewhere with
not
this.
my real mom, and you
No,
never
never
will
mind.
be.
I was going
But
somewhere with this.
but the bottom line is, when other people look at me, y'all not gonna see the fact that I got more non-black blood in me than I got black blood in me. Y'all know what y'all see? That American Indian and that Mfufu in them. Period. I can't walk around and tell y'all I'm German. The only reason I'll be able to do that is if I was born over there and I got nationality over there, which I don't.
Right.
But I got that shit in my blood so I can claim it. But when y'all see me, do y'all see that? Outside of this right here? Outside of this thing right here? What German blood do you see in me? You don't. As a matter of fact, outside of my red hair. And Germans don't have red hair. That's traced back to Ireland. And from what I understand, my sister-in-law did background. Our people are actually German Irish. They immigrated from Germany after the Nazis kicked their ass the fuck up. The Nazis got kicked the fuck up out of there. Some Germans immigrated to Ireland, which is where the last name Williams came from. Y'all not gonna see the fact that y'all gonna see red hair and call me black, because how many red-haired black people do you see running around this motherfucker for real? You don't.
I've seen a lot of red haired black people.
That don't count. Dark and lovely do not count.
No, I've still seen a lot of naturally
Oh, okay.
red haired people. My grandmother was very much bright red hair and freckles.
But your mom and then was the people in before her was also German.
No,
I mean, not German, was also Irish.
True.
Which is in their background. It makes sense for your mom. I don't care how dark skinned you are. If you came and had freckles, I'm not surprised. That's native to Irish people. So is red hair, and so are green eyes. Which is why my brother was born with green eyes. Mm-hmm. Which is why I have red hair. Y'all don't see that in me though. Guess what y'all see?
And that's really what
nigga.
The point that I was making. And like I could say like, okay, yeah, I'm African American, but I don't really know where my roots go back to African. What I can say is for sure, definitively, I'm black. I'm black I'm a Black American. I was born here, so I'm American and I'm Black. That I know for a fact. Now, while I do know some of my lineage comes from Ireland, I wouldn't, on the census say that I'm Irish or
And
I'm
you wouldn't
Black.
hop on no plane going over there trying to find your people
Probably
by
not.
yourself. Not by yourself.
No, probably no, absolutely not. No.
Because from what
So,
I heard, they don't even like a lot of us over there.
well, I don't think many people like us anywhere. So I'm just that's a whole nother
To
topic.
be honest.
To be honest, like
I mean, I get it, but I heard in Ireland, it's just let you go over there talking about you got some cousins. Okay. You got
I'm
cousins
telling
here,
you,
all right. I'll
I'm
help you
telling
find them.
you. So because of that, I'm definitely Black and I identify as Black. I know when I was doing some presentations for work and I was talking specifically about Black issues and they were like, well, you should put a disclaimer in there because we like to use African American. I'm like, I call myself Black. So if I am going to change this, but sure. So I had to literally put in there like, I am going to be using Black to identify the African American community as part of the community. I identify as Black. I'm Black.
And even that's problematic because everybody that's Black don't identify as African American.
They don't.
It's whole first generation
Or
Africans
everyone that's African
or Afro
American.
Cuban or Afro Latina.
I had to, embrace the Afro Latinas because I was struggling with that.
I know because we had that conversation 2 weeks ago, and I was trying, but I'm like, she ain't trying to hear it, and I'm high, and I ain't trying to argue with her. So bye.
I mean, not to say that like I really had an issue with like this whole thing about now it's cool to be Black. And so everybody's Black. Everybody is embracing the sides of them that's Black. And it was like, man, nobody wanted to be Black for a long time. You wanted to separate and disassociate yourself with Blackness as far as you can. If you were not dark skinned, you was going around saying, I got Indian in my family, or I got this in my family, or girl, you got that in your family. And nobody wanted to be just straight up Black. And now everybody wants to be Black. And it's like, damn, after I done got all these scars and wounds.
And here's the crazy thing. I'd always wanted to, I can't say that I knew what it was to be Black because I didn't know that I was Black.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand, when I was a shorty, I grew up in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Everybody grew up around was either white or Hispanic. It was very few Black people around me. But when I seen Black people, I knew who the fuck they were. They looked like my people. Okay. The way I was raised was this. Now, my father's multiracial, but he blackity Black and I'm Black, y'all.
I'm Black.
Quite
y'all.
frankly,
I'm Black,
no,
Black,
for real.
y'all.
No, for real. And the reason why, let's be clear, my name was not Kawana Nicole when I was born. My name was Stephanie Michelle. My father, Blackity Black, didn't want his daughter having a white woman's name. My Black child can't grow up with no white woman's name. We're going to try that again. You understand? So the way I grew up was in a very multi-ethnic society. And the way I was raised was never to look at somebody and judge them based on their race, their color, their hair, they shit. None of that. It was, that's a human being. And if they don't disrespect you, you leave them alone. You leave them in peace. If they ain't bothering you, you don't bother them. You don't get in their space. But people are people. It wasn't until I moved to Chicago on the south side in the dead center of Inglewood, right on the edge of Greater Grand Crossing, where I discovered what colorism was. Because then I got around a bunch of Black people who said they hated white people and they had never been around them other than being taught by them.
Yeah.
So me coming from Texas, going up around people who some were racist, but some of them was cool. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I hate white people. Why?
Right.
Cause they do this and they do that and they mean, okay, but how do you know, bitch? You ain't left fucking 72nd and Prairie since never. My nigga, you've been on 69th and Perry since before Daley got in office. Your people been over there. We talking about baby Daley. We talking about daddy Daley.
Right.
You ain't left the wood ever. So the only white people you seeing is the cops that come through here and the teachers, the few white teachers that we got here at Yale Elementary School. So how do you hate white people? How? Based on what? What facts do you have? And then I got accused of, well, you love. No, it's not about me loving white people. I'm just confused about how you, as a Black person who have never seen a white person outside of your classroom, hate people that you've never seen before. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't have these problems in Texas, which is odd because Texas is supremely fucking racist. It's actually the reason why we moved for that motherfucker from what I was told by my dad. But I wasn't taught that by my father. My mom and my father was like, people are people. Skin tone was never a conversation I had in my house. And you talking about a house with a dark-skinned woman, a fair-skinned, not a light-skinned, but a caramel to fair-skinned man, 2 chocolate little boys, and a fair-skinned, caramel-skinned little girl.
Well, color was never talked about in my house either. My perception of color literally came from society. All aspects of it came from outside of the family. Even within the family, I never felt colorism. Like, they're my sister sets who's definitely much lighter than me. There was never your light skin versus my dark skin feeling between the two of us ever. Or
same in my house.
My cousin,
same in my house. It wasn't
I have some cousins that were very, very fair skinned, and that wasn't.
I was told that I was raised by wolves because I don't look like none of them. But brothers do dumb shit like that. Whatever.
I don't know anything about that, but I was just saying that to say that my whole understanding of colorism came from just being a dark skinned girl in elementary school. Being a dark-skinned girl, growing up into a teenager and starting to want to be liked by males or get male attention, and hearing, well, you be pretty if you were light-skinned, or I would like you. I don't do dark-skinned girls. Like, dark-skinned girls, I don't find dark-skinned girls attractive, or just not having a lot of representation for dark-skinned beauty, like, at all. Like, I'm telling you, them dolls were hideous. Them dolls were, and I wanted Black dolls because I wanted to see their representation of me in what I played with. But I had Black dolls. I had, I was a Cabbage Patch girl, so I loved my Cabbage Patch dolls. But
I wanted a Black Cabbage Patch doll. I didn't want that little stringy white head hoe.
I had one Black Cabbage Patch, and her name was Flora, and she was a pretty crimping curl. Now I am on here telling
I remember the crimping curl, girl. Man, that was the upgrade from the yarn and the hair. I can't deal.
This pretty crimping curl was that she came with a real crinkler. Like crinkles was back then. You wanted some crinkles curl on it.
That shit had heat and everything. I remember.
Yes. So yes, she had the crimps and the curl, and that was my first Black Cabbage Patch. That was my first one, and I loved her. She was just as pretty. She had long, pipe cleaner hair. That's what that was. That was pipe cleaners. I know it now as an adult. That was a pipe cleaner in that baby's hair, but I love that doll. But my Barbies used to have the ugliest makeup.
Yeah, the Black Barbies were horrible.
They were horrible. So I had plenty of Black Barbie dolls, but they was not cute to me, and it used to bother me. But those are the small things that you see that gives you those little messages where it's like your dark skin ain't pretty. Like, they can't even give you a pretty dark skin toy. So
or just a prototype of what a Black toy looks like. Like, as a kid, I hated that doll Kenya. Now, to be fair, I understand why she was pushed so hard, because at the time there was no other Black representative in doll form outside of the Black Cabbage Patch dolls, and those were getting snatched like way too fast because they weren't being produced in mass quantity.
Not at all.
The reason why I hated Kenya even as a child, because it seemed like a very thank you, very stereotypical, very antiquated version of what a little Black girl should look like. Because when I saw that little girl, I didn't see me. I saw a little girl who was from Kenya. I'm not from Africa. Not at the time. I didn't know. This don't look like my friends around here.
I saw me because I stayed with beads and braids as a little girl. Like that was I was always
I
in
mean, and I
beads
did
and
too.
braids,
But was
no
that the
matter what.
only? But was that the only prototype of little girl in your neighborhood? And was that the only type of way that you wore your?
Here's the thing. I just feel like that's such a touchy subject because it was either have that
Or
you
nothing?
had to or
And
you
them ugly
had to
ass
have
Barbie
a
dolls.
relaxer. Like, I begged my mother to give me a relaxer. She did not want to relax my hair, but everybody had straight hair and I was tired of that hot comb with the grease melting on the neck. Like I
Meanwhile, I was
dreaded
throwing this shit back in a ponytail because I'm not
listen,
combing this shit.
I dreaded that hot comb. But when I wanted straight hair, that's what my mom had. She had the one that went on the stove at that too, because they had some that was electric and they had some that went on the
No,
stove.
I got that stove. I got the scars to prove it.
So, I begged her to relax my hair. And I just remember getting my first just for me. Oh, there go my nephew Peanut just walked in the room. That's the dog back there, my nephew Peanut. What up, Peanut? And my mom finally broke down, gave me a relaxer and stuff. So it was like it was good to have Kenya because I was the beads and braids little black girl. I did have that hairstyle. That's what I wore. Now I wasn't wearing kente cloth or nothing like that.
And thank you. I'm like, come on,
But
man.
wasn't
Ain't
wearing
no motherfuckers over here. Listen, and we weren't wearing that shit in Dunkerville, Texas. Fuck you talking about. We was out here wearing biker shorts, sports balls, and t-shirts. Fuck is you talking about, bro? We was out here on bikes and skates. We is not out here with the African drums and the kente. I need to know what the fuck
I
kente
don't
cloth was.
bikes right now with this
I'm
particular
sorry.
sibling on the
I'm sorry.
No, that you triggered me. You triggered me. I just had a moment. I also
I mean, but
I
come
had
on,
on
man.
biker shorts that day too, sis. I legit had on biker shorts.
But you understand what I'm saying? We won't walk around with no goddamn kente cloth on like that was every day. Well,
Walking around and in my
bruh,
case, rolling down hills in biking shorts. I rolled down the hill.
man. And not to mention the fact that kente cloth is like an actual sacred cloth. That's not some shit that you wear. Like that's actually a special occasion thing or something you wear that's native to the culture of the people that carries that particular kente.
So I know
Specifically the Ashanti people in West Africa.
I know this doesn't quite
Sorry.
fit into the colorism.
Yes, it does.
But I'm now that you bring that up, I want to talk about that because there have also been like a lot of debates about because everyone is becoming more black pride, black everything, and wearing the kente cloth, wearing traditional African robes and clothing and stuff. And like how do we feel about that? Like how do they feel about that? Like
I mean, I could tell you because I've been over there.
so go ahead. So tell me, because I've always wondered about that. Like, I think that sometimes we get away from the idea that we can culturally appropriate stuff, but we can. I don't even, it's like some of the stuff that we're doing and wearing, we're doing it without even knowing the origins, the significance in it, the symbols in it, none of that. So like, what's your
I agree.
perspective on that?
So, long time ago when I was young and dumb, I was a Fisk Jubilee singer, and we went on tour in West Africa, specifically Accra, Ghana, which is where kente cloths are predominant, if not where they originated. They have a little town there run by a certain community, because I do not like the word tribe. That is a very colorist word created by white folks. Mm-hmm. They have a community there of people called the Ashanti people. And the Ashanti people have an entire village called the Kente village, where you can go in and spend $50 at the least and get a beautiful tapestry of handmade kente cloth with all kind of symbols, all kind of emblems, things of that nature. Now, let's be clear and let's be fair. There are certain people who are native Africans who are totally okay with us embracing certain things like the kente cloth, especially and specifically when they know that we know and realize what the symbolism is behind the cloth itself and what's on the kente cloth, right? If anything, they want us to embrace it even more. Because when I got off the plane, they told me welcome home. And I actually spoke to some shorties over there. And they were like, we don't feel like it's cultural appropriating, but there are certain things that are native to certain specific cultures. Like, you know, with Indians, if you put a red dot on a young lady's forehead, I think that means she's either married or spoken for. Yeah, it's little things like that. They don't want you culturally appropriating that with certain things and cultures when it comes to African diasporic traditions. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, if anything, they're like, no, wear it and learn. And when you wear, even when you wear it, learn, read to show yourself approved. So if somebody walk up on you and ask you, hey, what that is, because somebody will ask you. Somebody from over there who really know what that is, they'll ask you. Because I've had people ask me about my tattoos. Because I have Adinkra symbols on each shoulder. I've had somebody ask me, and I've told them exactly what it meant. Now, if you wearing it, whether you got a tattoo or the clothing or the culture or whatever, if you're doing all of that and you don't know what it represents and you don't know the background, yeah, they're going to eat that ass up, and they should. Because you're not going to take what's native to me and mine and use it as some shit just because it's cool and look good because Erykah Badu said that shit. No, but you got me fucked up. No. But there are certain cultures who are very fine with you wearing the kente cloth and or, you know, getting deeper into certain Adinkra symbols or taking on certain Akande names. Like the people on Facebook know me as Abena. That was an Akande name that, first of all, I earned through a rites of passage, an African-based rites of passage program that I went through for some spiritual healing I needed to do on my own. But I can guarantee you somebody who was probably born really Abena, if they ask me what that name meant and what it means to me and how I got that name, oh, you best believe I better know how and why I got that name. And I do. Because if I don't, I'd be disrespecting people who are really a part of the Ashanti people with that Akande name. It's like, nah, bitch, you can't have that.
Unless you know where it came from.
Period. Point blank, it's really that simple.
I respect that. I got a couple more things I want to address about colorism. I spoke earlier about me having one of my wake ups with colorism as because I'm a parent and having my own child come and tell me, like, you know, this is what I am, without even having that conversation with her or either of my kids. They're very much like, I'm black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm proud to be black, y'all. Sis, who has my two nephews, my two black men nephews, what was it like for you talking to the boys about how they may identify, having their mom, having a grandma that is German and you're being half German? Were there any issues for you guys?
One, how old are they?
Don't make me cry.
Boys.
No, because it was gauged.
14.
You heard right.
I've been drinking. And please don't take this as a judgment, because I promise you I'm not trying to throw shade, but you said your oldest is how old? 19?
Yes.
Santez, is your older sister or your younger sister?
What you trying to say?
She don't look like she got no 19-year-old.
She always look like that. I swear she has a baby face. Everybody always thinks she's a kid. They will card her. Yeah. They think she's a kid.
I'm thinking she like 28, 30.
Well, I ain't saying that she a whole lot older than me, but I am saying she at least 3 years older than me. At least.
Okay, that's safe. Because I was really like, I don't want to sound like I'm judging her, but if her baby 19 and she 25, that means she.
And she didn't have her super young either. I'm just saying, I ain't saying she old, but I'm just saying she older than me. That's it.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Carry on.
I don't think that we ever really had any issues. Luckily, with Tobias, we've got a little bit of autism to also deal with. So, he's very opinionated, and good luck changing his mind when he's got his mind made up about something. So,
hello.
But luckily we haven't had any issues along, no bumps along those terms. They identify as Black. You know, they obviously know they've got German in their family, but I wouldn't say that like either one of them has even had the opportunity to, you know, come in contact with anyone German other than just my mom and, you know, a family member here or there. So yeah.
Quick, another question. What hue are they?
Uh,
They're dark.
they're darker than me. Tobias, he's not much darker than me. TJ, he's more he's got a little more melanin for sure. He's
Okay.
not like very dark or anything, but you know.
Have you ever had to have a conversation with them about colorism because of the tone difference between you and the children?
No, luckily that has not occurred. I will say that with TJ, more so the older one, you know, he's got like a definite mix of friends, you know, as far as like what races they are and all of that. So sometimes I find myself wondering like why he talks a certain way to certain people. And then, you know, like they're also I guess his age group, I think, is a little bit more accepting of certain things too. And so things that like I wouldn't allow people to say to me, he thinks it's like joking between them. And sometimes I'm like,
Like,
that's not
nah,
something you
bro.
should let
They tried.
slide.
They
Yeah.
just tried the fuck out of you,
Yeah.
bro.
So we've definitely had that, but you know, it's never been any confusion as to like what you know, what races what races we're
Okay.
claiming here or that type of
Okay.
thing.
Okay. And I asked because I assumed that would be a concern, because because women who have melanin in their skin are able to develop children who are not always their complexion.
Yeah.
You know, I was assuming, very safely might I add, that your children would be either darker than you or not as light as you. And I was just wondering what that conversation would look like if you had to talk to them about anything colorist or any colorism issues that might arise or may have in the past. I'm at sheer ignorance. I just don't know.
No, I get it. I mean, we've been lucky, I think, not to have to deal with it too much on that line.
And I
Okay.
think it matters too a lot with what they are seeing, like their environment and where they're growing up. Like,
Yeah,
that plays a real huge role in it. Period.
it
Um,
does.
and so it's easier for them to be like, you know, I'm definitely Black. Like we have a culture, even though some other people may not think that Black Americans have a culture. We do have
We
culture.
do.
Have
We
certain,
We have
absolutely
one,
do,
and
we
honey.
definitely do. And
You know what I
you know,
it's
mean?
been appropriated so
up in
much, you know. So
Oh, I
yes,
want
listen,
to
we have
talk
it.
about it. Like so much
fact,
so that the Gullah Geechee people can't even claim
fact,
this shit no more. But you know, we can talk about that another
yes.
time.
And I think that that's where a lot of my frustration comes from, because when I before Janet Jackson wore box braids and Poetic Justice, oh, I had my box. Sis will tell you, I kept my box braids as
Yeah.
a kid. And you know, people would talk about your box braids, and then here go Janet in Poetic Justice, and she got her box braids on, and now everybody
And it
wearing
was
box
okay.
braids. It was okay. So I think like my colorism too had a lot of constantly like things that just was natural to me, things that my mom was a hair braider. So she just used to keep my hair braided. It was the easiest thing. You knew I had long hair. I used to have very long hair. It was more manageable for her to just keep it braided. So it was like all of those things, it wasn't cool when little old dark skinned me was doing it. Now you have people doing certain things and it's acceptable. And I think that's
So
where a lot of my pain, like my trauma, comes from.
so with that, I don't want to re-traumatize you, but I will bring this topic up because it actually did piss me off once I was made aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was an incident recently where y'all favorite R&B singer Mr. Steal Your Girl Trey Songz had been accused of some very questionable sexual acts with certain women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the dark-skinned young lady named Keke Palmer mentioned, told, and maintained her story about the allegations that she made against him, and I'm gonna call them allegations because I wasn't there. That don't mean I don't believe her, because I do. But the bottom line is I wasn't there, and there's no police proof saying that they did or did not happen. In any case, when the dark-skinned young lady named Keke Palmer, who didn't really go on a tirade, she just told what the fuck it was, like real thoroughbred Chicago bitches do. She got dragged, G. I mean, I don't remember anybody saying anything good about her, including Trey Songz. What happened with Selena Powell? Who, by the way, ain't even black, but if she was black, we would call her light skinned because she is of lighter hue. What happened when the lighter hue woman brought up the fact that this nigga peed on her without her consent?
Yeah, listen, you did trigger me, but I'm gonna take a deep breath. So,
I mean, and I know, because I really want to talk about that, because I don't understand.
Talk about it too, because this is something that really, really bothers me, and something I'm still working through daily. In the professional world, even as a Black girl, I have to be careful all the time. I'm like always walking on eggshells with stuff. There is just this diminishing of darker skinned women to
baby
in so many ways. Like, if we're passionate about something, we're getting aggressive, we're angry. I'm just passionate. So like working in my fields, in social work and nonprofit, I've had to be particularly mindful of when I'm very passionate about something. And one of my
being light skinned, you shouldn't be so loud. Bitch, who the fuck you talking to?
It's all of those little small things, so subtleties that people don't realize this cuts so deep. I won't mention this particular agency that I worked for. It was very recently though. There was a lot of that where I was practically one of the only Black people in the administrative offices. There was another Black girl there, but she was very quiet, didn't really speak up or say anything. I would come into the office and tell them before stuff happened all the time. Okay. Nobody would believe me. I remember this one incident in particular. I was trying to inform them that there were drugs possibly in one of the houses. And this is what I overheard. And I left, and they was more concerned about how much I know. Do I know how much of a pound of marijuana is? Not that's in the house. It was, how does she even know what a pound of marijuana is? Like, lady,
what's that to do with anything?
Something, we could do a drop right now, but I'm trying to tell you something happens. That is what you endure, you encounter a lot of times in the professional world as a dark-skinned person. If you say something too passionately, she's aggressive, she's angry,
Or remember, if you watch, who here watch Basketball Wives? Melissa, raise your hand.
Melissa don't watch Basketball Wives.
Okay, and you know what, and that's fair. So let me go ahead and hit you to some game that happened on there, right? Sante, since you watch it, I know you know where I'm going with this conversation. Now, if you are an avid fan of Basketball Wives,
I know where you going, but I don't like that girl because there's something wrong with that girl. It ain't got nothing to do with
I agree. No, I agree.
Problem.
She does. No, she does. But guess who didn't? But guess who really didn't have problems? Royce Reed. And she got accused of being aggressive. But when Evelyn, but she would do the same thing that Evelyn Lozada would do.
True.
As a lighter skinned Puerto Rican. Okay, because let's be clear to the Hispanic folk on here. Some of y'all be saute, goddamn it, complexion, and be walking around here like you ain't got fufu in your blood, and you do. Okay, so what would piss me off about shows like that is when OG, who is obviously sometimes overly aggressive, but the bottom line is Evelyn did meet her match. Because when Evelyn was doing the shit that OG was doing, it was cool because she's pretty and it make for good TV. OG gave her back that same goddamn energy. What did the media say about her?
So I didn't like Evelyn either. I just don't particularly like that type of energy. That's just not me.
I don't either. I don't either.
I tried very hard not to surround myself with that type of negativity. However, I had real issues with OG, and I had real issues with her because she was extremely unnecessarily overly aggressive. And then this justification, well, Evelyn did it, and it's the colorism thing. Well, that may have been the case. There's something very wrong with that girl. She was very nasty and vicious, and she was doing it to people that didn't necessarily deserve to have that fire or whatever it was with her. She just had a chip on her shoulder.
Now Royce didn't know.
I didn't agree with that.
Now Royce didn't.
Royce did not, and I did like her when she was on the show. But there are times where, some time ago, I had made a comment in one of the group forums that I'm in about the show Insecure, and I had brought up how I don't know who watches Insecure. Issa Rae, that's my boo. If she ever watched this, I love you, girl. Okay, see, my sister watch the Issa show. That's what I call it. I call it the Issa show.
I don't know nothing about. I know Team Lawrence. That's all I know from social media.
No, ain't no Team
That's
Lawrence.
all I know.
Ain't no Team
I
Lawrence.
didn't say I was on his team. I just said that's what I see.
Well, don't even be shouting that out on here then, because we ain't Team Lawrence on here, because Lawrence ain't perfect. Anyway,
my bad.
What I was saying was, I didn't forget the friend name. What's the best friend name? See,
Molly old ugly ass.
Yeah, see, I don't like Molly. But I had
bobblehead bitch. Sorry.
And Molly had got too overly aggressive, and I got dragged in this group. You had black people calling me coon.
But she was. Molly was putting 20 on 10, bitch. You was doing way too much with the very little, with the very least. You was doing the very most with the very fucking least, and it didn't matter what complexion she was. Bitch, you was doing too much.
Molly was
Amanda Seals light skinned as fuck. That bitch be doing too much, G. Too much.
Too much. So
what Lorianne Gibson said, too much.
So I'm saying that to say, while I have been on the receiving end at times of that stigma that because I'm dark skinned, I'm gonna be over aggressive, I'm gonna be angry black woman, etc. I do feel like at times we do perpetuate that. Us dark skinned girls do perpetuate that stigma. But to our defense, it's that trauma. It's that colorism trauma, and it's that having to build like that thick skin of growing up so much hearing like all of these negative things about you. Like you just look in the mirror and you hear all of these negative things about your reflection. It's very hard for you not to internalize that and be angry. I've just done a whole lot of work because I was mad.
Melissa, I don't know about me, but you probably could speak to this more than me. How about the whole, just like there are stereotypes with what a dark-skinned person is or is not supposed to be, there are very much stereotypes of what a light-skinned, caramel-skinned, hazel, bitches that look like me, and then women who look like Melissa. There are very much stereotypes that fit with us. Number one, we're supposed to be quiet. Loud. It's loud. No, we're soft. We're demure. We're supposed to be quiet. We're supposed to be, seen and not really seen and not heard, but we supposed to give more, I guess, Southern Belle and not Midwest hood rat. You understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to always
be more house educated than field.
Yes,
that's it.
Absolutely. We're also because we're pretty.
A particular way in the house versus the field. So that's what that.
And because light-skinned people are considered pretty people, because I'm trying to tell you now, I've seen some ugly light-skinned folk. I'm talking about was scared of my life. Do you hear me? But because we're light-skinned, we're deemed pretty. So there's this assumed privilege that comes with that, and that's fine. But the problem with that is when you pretty, how many smart, pretty women do you know inherently, or do you does a world think exists?
Right.
It ain't too many. Am I lying, Melissa? Like, how many people will walk up on you and really just thought you was just dumb ditzy because you was light skinned? I thought you was gonna go because you was light skinned. I thought you was gonna let them play you because you were light skinned and you were just gonna be quiet about it. How many times has that happened to you?
That's when they met other Melissa. That because she come off real quiet. Don't let that fool you, that baby face.
Don't push it.
Don't push it.
But then when they push it and you go there, you every name but your name. You too cute to be like that. You too pretty to be like that. Oh, well, I mean, if you wouldn't have pushed me, listen, you can't push somebody in a corner and they get mad when they bop you in your motherfucking nose, G. I don't care what shade they are.
No.
So I'm quite sure being dark skinned is way worse because dark skinned people have always called it the worst historically. But the issue with that is sometimes dark skinned people be so caught in their own hatred that they can't come out of that and realize that just because we light skinned over here don't mean we got that shit easy, dog.
And
we don't.
I attribute me not being so far to the extreme in my trauma because I have a fair skinned sister that I spent a lot of time with growing up, like, and defending and fighting with, and fighting for all of that, and just knowing her personally and her struggles and stuff. I think that has helped me not be so far to the angry left, because without it, I have had and experienced enough to be just as pissed off, just as aggressive, just as angry. I mean, you really do hear nothing but negativity until now. Like, now it's very new. So like all of this, melanin magic and chocolate women are great. It's like, yeah, that's dope, but I sure wish I had this kind of love years ago when I was in the bathroom looking at myself crying, or when I was telling my sister, Melissa, I'm ugly. How many conversations that I talked to you about where I was like, I'm ugly. I must be ugly. Dark skinned girl, big teeth. I grew into my teeth finally, but I didn't as a kid. You had a big head, small body. It was like, until I started developing a little bit, you just didn't get any attention. Nobody ever paid me any attention. So you grow up with all of that anger, that animosity. I just happen to have siblings that help curb that. I happen to have a bomb relationship with my sisters that are lighter than me, that, Melissa's giving me plenty of pep talks. Sis, you are cute. Don't let nobody tell you vice versa, yada, yada, yada. But it was a lot of that pain growing up and just hearing that all the time. And then I just finally got to a point where I was like, you know what? Whatever. If they don't like me, I ain't everybody's cup of tea, but I'm gonna learn to be my cup of tea. And that was a game changer for me in a lot of ways, where I did notice that having that confidence did get you some attention, and having a C cup and only being 100 pounds kind of helped
a
too.
C cup where? A C cup where? Who are you talking to?
In the beginning, did they get eventually past the C? Yes, but initially.
Okay, because I'm like, there wasn't no C cups at prom. I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
By that was senior year, but when I started out like freshman year of high school, I was a C cup. I know I was a C, but towards the end, that was a funny story. The whole room. I don't know if Kawana remember this. I had got breast implants in high school. Cold as hell. I don't know who afforded those for me, but around that I had got them at one point. But anyhow, that certainly helped my confidence a little bit. Having some new friends, having some girlfriends to kind of back me up with my.
I never looked at the insurgence of the acceptance of darker skin as, well, damn, where the fuck was this back then? And I'm not mad at you or any woman who feels that way, because I get it. It's like, what the fuck was this? When motherfuckers was knocking me in my head and pulling my hair and calling me African booty scratching, all this shit. You know what I mean? At this point of my life, I'm looking at it as like about fucking time. Because I look at how people coming up on. Well, no, and that's fair. And you know what? I look at it the same way I look at my spiritual beliefs, right? Let's be clear. I grew up in a house that was severely Christian. the houses I did grow up in, with the exception of my father.
Mm-hmm.
My mama and them was not trying to hear shit but Jesus. No shade, ma, I love you. But a lot of the stones and the stuff that I've got her into now, baby, she'd have kicked me the fuck out the house for in high school. We talking about a woman who, when I wanted to watch The Devil's Advocate, she allowed her husband to make me take that movie back because we don't do the devil in this house. Okay? We talking about, I grew up in that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I see people like my mom and like other people getting more into African spirituality, like even when I watched P Valley, one of the dudes poured out libations that he was pouring out to Obatala, Oya, and a bunch of other African deities. And I was like, Ashe, oh, I got it. Yeah. I was hella hyped to hear that shit. You know why? Because why the fuck not? When people come into knowledge of their self, when people come into knowledge of their beauty, knowledge, whatever it was, I don't give a fuck if I was doing that shit 10 years ago, which most of this African spiritual stuff I have. But 10 years later, people just now getting back on it heavy. Good, about fucking time, because it should have been there.
I'm just now getting there.
I see that about when I see people being, enamored over dark-skinned girls. It was a school girl I went to fifth with named Kim. First of all, it blew me because she wanted to do AKA, and that's a whole other colorism conversation in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, this when I say blue black, I mean blue black from Alabama. You hear me? And when I say I ain't seen a motherfucker prettier than her than I ever seen in my 37 years of life, I mean blue black. And wait, and here's a gotcha. The bitch had the nerve to have a fade. But yes, Melissa, yeah, a bald fade.
Great.
And she was blue black. Blue black. And I looked at, and the first time I saw her, I said, that's the prettiest motherfucker I ever seen in my life. And to this day, if I see her, prettiest, high cheekbones like yours, Sante.
But that wasn't the norm.
But that's why I liked it.
And that
I never in my life, I've never seen nobody. And it's not that I've never seen dark-skinned people that was pretty. You seen my mama? Have you seen my brothers?
You are a drop in the bucket.
You know what I mean? But when I saw her, I was like, that motherfucker is gorgeous. But like her skin, I was like, wow.
You are dropped in the bucket though.
Because I knew you had to be bold. First of all, you in Nashville. And you blue black, you from Alabama, country as fuck, and you want to be, and you an AKA, or at that time wanted to be because she a legacy, and you got a bald fade, bitch, you bold for no other reason. I was like, because how many women your complexion or darker would have been able to slide with that shit?
No,
and been comfortable with it.
I had long hair as a girl, and I still was not cute enough. It was, you too dark to have pretty hair like that. Why
this girl was blue black, blue black with a fade, and I was like,
but my point is, you are a drop in the bucket. Society says that beauty is this. Beauty is white, or if you can't be white, then you got to be fair skinned. If you're fair skinned, then you're gorgeous. Just the struggle. So like Robert, to tell you, I still have not found a proper foundation.
They're not
all
even
of the different Fenty can't, because my shade, I have two different skin tones even on my face. So like I use more than one foundation. I use two foundations if I'm going to wear makeup. Robert would tell you, it literally, I'm always like trying to find a new foundation where I don't have to buy two different types of makeup, because even Fenty has what's called damn it, I can't think of it. It darkens over time. So like, you put it on and it'll change a little bit. I just can't get the right shade. That's frustrating in itself. I know when I was getting my prom dress altered, my mom had wanted me to have like some flesh color lace because it was very provocative. It was a very
I told y'all her titties was tittying. That dip was all to her belly button, child. I was like, ooh, she bold.
It got up a little bit because my mom was like, see, that's made for a girl that ain't got no boobs. You got way too much to fill that up with. So we did get it altered some, but
jealous. I was like, a bitch like me could never swing that. She bold. I like it. And she looked good.
But I couldn't find any flesh colored that wasn't too light or like
Yeah, they
too
would have made you
dark.
look ashy in the light. Nah, that would
Right,
nah.
right,
I see what you're
right.
saying.
So it's like even still, um, we even with all this black love and this black is beautiful support, catching up to some of the darkness, some of the things that comes with darkness is still behind. We still lagging in some of those things. So like, it's a struggle. I'm better about it now. And like I said, I'm better about it because it took for my child to be like, but I am chocolate. I am dark skinned. And I was like, you know what? You right. You show is. You milk chocolate. You Hershey's chocolate. Go ahead, girl. Because that's how she views herself. And I have to let it go. I was still kind of perpetuating that, even though thinking that I wasn't, or feeling like I can't do it because I'm dark skinned. Like it's being done to me, so I can't do it to other people. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
And
you can.
you absolutely can. And I needed to recognize that both my kids identify as being dark skinned. They love being dark skinned. They love being black. They're proud to be black. Like that's an accomplishment in itself. Not that as a kid I didn't want to be black. I just didn't want to feel bad for being black, especially by everybody. It wasn't even just the world and racism. It was that within my own people. Like, the kids at school are cruel. They don't got
Baby.
no love. You got no
Ooh,
love for the
child.
dark skinned girl.
Them
Zero.
evil little bastards. I went to LU Yale's elementary school. What?
Listen,
Horrible. Little turds, little gremlins. Jesus Christ. Sorry, go ahead.
just
Triggered.
with all of that being said, I have made a pledge to do better and to heal from my own colorism and let it go and just allow people to be proud to be black because it was hard enough being black when nobody wanted to be black. Nobody
I'm
wanted to
I'm
do
just
it.
excited. I'm just excited that people are starting to embrace it more.
Right.
And even though they are like 15, 20 years behind, okay, I would rather you be 15, 20 years behind than for you to be 40, 50 behind, 50 years behind, like these white motherfuckers who still think that nigga is cool to say to my face without consequence. Like, at least you know now. At least you know now that dark skin always been in. Light skin ain't
It
always
wasn't
the right
always
skin.
in, but it's in now. So
I said no. I
I'll
mean,
wear the glow.
well, here's the thing. When I say it's always been in, my thing is it's always been in. It was people who made it out.
Right.
It was people's judgments on being dark skinned that put them out. And let's be clear, if you live below the certain part of certain hemisphere, you're going to be a little darker in hue anyway. That's the nature of not physiology. Well, one, physiology, and the nature of whatever earth science is. We're gonna call it earth science because I'm high. Bottom line is, I want to get us. I want everybody to get to a space where they realize that light skin, dark skin, it don't matter. When you cut your skin, we gonna bleed red.
Facts.
So nobody gives a fuck that I'm light skinned and I got curly hair and I look better with straight hair. What does that mean? Nobody cares that Sante is dark skinned and she got curly hair. Well, you must be mixed with some. Why the fuck she just can't be black and blackity black and she black, y'all?
I'm
You
black.
know,
Black mixed with
or if somebody's Puerto Rican and they dark skinned but they identify as black, why is that an issue? Why is that a problem? If somebody's light skinned or if somebody is biracial like Melissa, why is it an issue that a fairer skinned African identified person identifies as African? What the fuck? You see that they ain't all white, but if they identified as white, you be trying to roast them down to the ground saying, no, bitch, you black.
Right.
Now she's claimed, but people I don't want to say people like her, but biracial people will claim their black blood and still get dragged. Well, you can't be black because you too light skinned. Bitch, which you want me to be?
Which is it?
You got it. Yeah. You can't have it.
What do you want me to be?
King, this thing, it ain't your way. You can't have it your way. I agree. But the moral of the story is we're all beautiful and we all just need to love each other just the way we are. I want to thank my big sis Melissa, my big sis.
Listen here.
My older sister. older by at least 3 years. Just wanted to
You
throw that
steady saying this at least 3 years.
at least three
It's 3 only.
and like a month.
You know what?
Okay, I'm stop. I'm okay now. I'm sorry. I was just saying it was 3 years.
My
But
sister is 6 years younger than me, so I don't have these issues. Don't have these
but do
problems
she
at
look
all. And
younger than you? She older than me. Everybody, you had the
well,
nerve.
because she is younger than me, so yes, she looks younger than me. But that's
No,
hard because I
I'm
look young
talking
as
about
fuck.
my situation. She older than me. You had to ask. You had to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, people got to ask who she is
You know
between
I'm
the two of us.
25. Ain't
Yeah, but
nobody
we look.
younger than me.
Yeah, but we look just alike, so I can't. I don't know. My sister look just like me, dead ass.
Before we end tonight, will you tell us about your real estate business, please? If you're looking for a house.
I will be when I be
Sure
doctor
will.
next year. What it do?
Well, come on through. Our company's name is Addison Clark Real Estate. We would be very, very happy to help anybody. We do everything from rentals to buying to selling houses. And, you know, Travis just quit his regular gig today, so he's full-time real estate now.
All right.
So
Go, bro.
we
Yeah.
gonna go.
Are you all here in the States now, or are you
Girl,
international?
She live out south. What you talking about? She done lived over decades now.
Listen, I'll be having to ask these questions because some people grow up where they grow up and then they leave and then they go back like shit. It's better over here and it's cheaper and the money, the difference between the money spending is.
Going nowhere. If she leave me, I'm going to get her.
But Melissa, am I lying now?
I mean, look who our president is. That's enough reason to go.
Thank you. That's why I asked.
Go vote.
But yes, we work here in Illinois, also Indiana.
Okay.
So just, okay.
Okay.
So see my sis and bro, if you're looking for a house or a rental, I will make sure that I am sharing the information from here on out for all of our businesses that we highlight for the week. I'm going to be updating all the businesses that we've highlighted thus far through our page. My
website will be done by next week. I swear to God, y'all, on my life, on my mama. All right.
Please get y'all's a yoni egg. Now that I know what I'm doing, I love my yoni egg.
It's actually staying in now.
It's yes. See, before I was shooting egg, y'all don't even want to understand.
Like personal information.
I was shooting.
Oh, you know what a yoni egg is, Melissa?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. I was super like, I got to give you a lesson, girl. I ain't got time. Come to my seminar. Come to my WAP seminar on Thursday, honey.
I sure love my yoni egg. I also have such a newfound appreciation for chickens. They are super dope. They are super dope to be laying eggs, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Y'all, she was skeet shooting that goddamn egg across the room.
For a yoni egg or just
and for your Reiki sessions.
Got Reiki, all of that. And I want to also highlight a new business, and this one is like gonna make me cry because this is one of my babies. So like I'm not, most people be like, Sante is such a kid person. I'm kind of not, but I am. I like my babies, and I have some babies that did not come from my womb.
I like my children.
But my children don't always come from my womb, because like my nephews, Melissa tell you, those are my babies. Like I ain't have to spit them out for them to be mine. They mine. And this is one of mine, even though she didn't come from my womb. My boo, Janiyah LaBree, she's a teenager, y'all. She's Marquita Haley Wallace's daughter. Her first.
Oh, yeah. I saw. Okay, yeah, I saw that. What's the name of the business again? It should look nice.
It's called Janiyah LaBree. She's selling cosmetics, so she has lip gloss and eyeshadow. I am so proud of her. This was like one of my first babies. Like people thought that this was my child. They didn't.
She got like 3 shades out, right? Like I think that's what I read. It's like 3 shades of the lip stuff, and it's like a couple of the. See, I was keeping up. Goddamn it!
So please buy. I can't wait to put my order in. That's my baby. She knows Sante is her other mama. No matter what, because people legitimately thought this was my child. And I used to tell people, I remember when she was sick and I went with Quita to the hospital, to the ER, and they was talking to me about her condition. And I was like, I'm not, but doc, I'm not, see her mom, that's her mom. Oh, that's her mom.
So here's the reason why we want to continue to plug and support this baby's business, right?
Yes.
One, because she is a baby.
Because she's a
And
baby.
college tuition is gonna be expensive as hell.
Absolutely.
So we don't want mama to have to always, lean in, get in her pocket, or have to always depend on scholarships, because sometimes they don't give those out. Number two, when we support our young folk, we support the spirit of entrepreneurship within them. Now, let's be clear, everybody ain't meant to own a business. And I really wish people would stop pushing this narrative as if everybody should. Because if everybody owned the business, who the fuck is going to serve you your food at the restaurant? Get your goof ass out of here. Anyway,
who the hell is gonna help you in social
with your makeup, or who gonna
anything? We need
who gonna counsel you? You know what I mean?
Counselors, nurses, teachers. All of us Black people can't all have businesses. But if you are making it, you doing the thing with your business, continue to do that. But we still need Black people doing other things, and it's okay for us all to not be entrepreneurs. It's okay.
But if we do have children who are entrepreneurs, we want to push them. Because if that is something that they really want to do, you are doing nothing more than fostering just positive energy and encouragement into them to keep pushing, even if they mess up. And it's okay. McDonald's fuck up all the time.
All the time. Facts.
And they got billions of dollars worth of profit. So you want to encourage these babies.
The other day, had the nerve tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. They still owe
every
me
goddamn day.
Some hotcakes. They still owe me. I'm coming for my hotcakes.
You asked them for salt. You asked them for salt on the fries, like you didn't just see them sprinkle a sprinkle and a half. Bitch, you put 2 grains of salt on them fries. You better run that.
They charge you for nuts. Do you know I almost climbed through the drive-through window when they told me it was 25 cents for a pack of peanuts? For my Sunday? The nerve. But go ahead.
But the bottom line is, when you support young children or young adults in their entrepreneurship belief systems and what they're doing, you're encouraging them to do something other than go to college, and you're encouraging them to just continue to pursue their dreams even when they do go to college, because we don't have a lot of our babies out here seeing positive things or doing positive things. This is a young lady who created a product, and it was a product that's in demand, because who doesn't like lip gloss or makeup, right?
I do. I'm so excited. So listen, she has 3 shades of lip gloss. The lip gloss are $10 each, and she has an eyeshadow palette, and the eyeshadow palette is $20. And I apologize, I butchered the name. It's just her middle name, Labrie Beauty. So
I thought that was long as hell. I'm like, that's not that baby business name. It's okay though. She knows what she's talking about.
But her product is called Labrie Beauty. So please support her. I'm super proud. This is one of my babies. And I almost cried when I saw this. She's a good girl. She's a good student. And she's trying to, do the darn thing out here. So go get y'all lip gloss. You don't want to be walking around here crusty lipped anyway. You want to make sure you keep them soft.
No Duchess lips from Black Ink Crew. No Duchess lips.
Go and get you some lip gloss. Get you some eyeshadow. We know y'all be beating y'all face. Y'all shouldn't be going nowhere. We supposed to be social distancing. But if you gonna go somewhere, beat your face. You could have some beautiful eyes while you got on your mask. Like, do it. So order your makeup, okay? And we want to thank you guys for joining us again. Again, if you are interested in having a conversation without me having to beg, I drug my sister on here. She was like,
okay, fine.
I had to think about it for 2 hours.
She literally.
I can't take it.
But she showed up, because that's my boo. I love you, sissy. But
it's like, girl, shut the fuck up.
You's a hater. Let me love on my sister. Then we just talk about love and sisterhood. What's wrong with you?
She has little pound cake all in her spirit right now.
She do. She
and she probably sniggling because she don't know who Little Pound Cake is. It's okay.
I don't even need to know.
No, so Little Pound Cake, if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race is a little competition where all the local drag queens or cross dressers, whatever you want to refer to them as, go and compete for a crown and like $100,000. So one of the winners of one of those competitions is named Alaska Thunderfuck. Yes, that is her drag name. And in one of the competitions she was originally in, I believe it was season 6. Yep, it was season 6 because the little redhead chick from Seattle won. Jinx Monsoon. In any case, they had to make like these little dolls, little pageant dolls. This ignorant bitch.
Why she gotta be ignorant?
Because you've seen what little pound cake look like. This little ignorant bitch and her partner, Lanacia Sparks, made a pageant doll named Little Pound Cake.
And I'm sick of her and this doll. I'm sick.
This little trailer trash little heifer is literally like what's the little fat girl? Honey Boo Boo. She's like Honey Boo Boo and Catch Me Outside. How about that? Mixed into one.
This is the ugliest doll.
This doll's catchphrase is, and I quote, "You're not my real mom and you never will be."
Then I have to object to being compared to this.
And her favorite thing to do is this.
She has been sending me this little ugly doll. Every time I'm telling her something in pure love, she sends me this and says, "You're not my real mom.
My real mom and you never will be."
So I done almost drove all the way to the south side a couple times.
Don't you send me that?
She want to fight me. I know it's just what it is. She want to fight me. So we might as well just go ahead and do this and then move on because we love each other. But we gonna square up.
I just need her to understand that she's not my real mom and she never will be.
Let me see if I could pull up the picture real quick. No, it is so ugly. And I was like, what
it is, baby.
With her. Let me show you this. Can you see that?
That thing was ugly as hell.
Can you see that? Why?
And that's how that little thing look on the show. Why? Ugly, it would look just like that. Ugly as hell. I think that's the original doll.
Why? Why is she sending this? She got issues. The child has issues. I love it anyway. But if you're interested in joining our conversation, please feel free to message us either on Facebook, because y'all ain't getting the email, might be too long, but email us at owwegonnatalk@gmail.com. And if we can support your business next week, please send us a description of your business. We definitely want to highlight it.
Highlight us. Highlight us.
Those are getting some momentum, so we want to share that with our fellow people and uplift y'all, celebrate y'all, support y'all. So please share with us your business so that we can highlight your business. And then join us next week on Tuesday, 8 p.m. sharp on live. We've been on time, y'all. We had that one show where we was late. We was late. That first show. Zoom was.
I remember because I was like, what was happening?
Zoom.
However, we do want to give a heads up that there may be a change in schedule for the day of the show. Unfortunately, it is to accommodate my schedule as almost Dr. Williams. I will start student teaching on Mondays, which means I have class during the week. And Sante knows that if it ain't work, school work, or penile,
or
satisfaction. First of all, if it's spiders, I'm just not doing shit because I'm not leaving the house. Let's just be clear. But if it's school, I don't adjust or accommodate that. So I just have to work around it. So we have to switch the day after next week.
We'll post it on the new day and time. But if y'all love us, y'all gonna show up regardless, right? It ain't gonna
you better, because I know where half you motherfuckers live anyway, or where y'all be at.
That is admissible in court. You can't be threatening folks like that on the
air. Who gonna check me, boo?
You right. You're not my real mom, and you never will.
You can't use my line, ma'am.
We love y'all, people. Thanks for joining. We gonna talk colorism. We'll be announcing next week's show soon. If you have a topic that you want to discuss about breaking generational curses,
please let us know.
Reach out. We don't want to just talk about our own generational curses. We know that this stuff runs deep. Even if you're not willing to be a participant in the show, we still want to address it. So let us know. And then we'll see you guys next week. Love you all. Be safe. Thank you, Sissy.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you, Melissa.
You
already
too,
met her
Kamana.
before. You was at the wedding. I'm gonna hang up on her now.
Listen. I'm high. Bye.
She was one of my matron of honors. What's wrong with you? I just don't know about her sometimes. I don't know.
I don't know what I did yesterday. You asking me about some shit that happened 8 years ago. You
You
know
was
I
hiding
smoke.
from spiders yesterday because you was texting me.
I was high when you got married too. What you mean?
Probably, yes, indeed. But you still sung your butt off though. I'm so ready to live. I'm so
No.
stop. Good night, y'all.
Bye.